There we go. It took him a second, but the rookie got it.
The last good noise for the
Forever.
season.
I guess so. I mean, we're headed to the offseason now. It's all said and done. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Boo.
Super Bowl champions.
Oh, yeah, that's my team.
Yeah, remember they beat the Bengals.
Bingo Cats.
So congratulations on your Super Bowl ring.
Thank you. I'll
Sorry about not getting the podcast out until Sunday.
Did that happen?
I don't think John knows this, but yeah, and the audio form didn't come out till after the Super Bowl. So it was a pretty late analysis in terms of release. But you know, they say better late than never.
Were we right?
No, we chose the Eagles.
Oh, we're dumb.
So if someone watched the Super Bowl and then listened to the podcast, they just watched the Chiefs win the Super Bowl and then we picked the Eagles like very confidently. David super confidently picking
David.
the Eagles. We went over to David's house and
No.
he's sad. He didn't let on to be as sad as I think he actually was.
Yeah,
He was a diehard Eagles fan. He was like, "No, it's okay." He's like, "Is it though? You can tell me if you're not okay."
Yeah, David, hit us up after if you need like cookies or something.
Antidepressants.
Yeah, that.
How about a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, yeah. Antidepressant cookies, just a bunch of fentanyl in the cookies.
Yeah, I think that Super Bowl was at least on track and could very well still be one of the all-time great Super Bowls. It just had a very anticlimactic ending.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
With the penalty at the end there, which was it a penalty? Technically, yes, holding on James Bradbury, but I don't know. I don't like them calling it there, but
That happens though. That was a good.
it
call.
happens. It was just
They
there wasn't a lot of consistency.
Yeah, they didn't
with
call it earlier.
But I mean, you know, the Eagles aren't blaming that penalty for the reason they lost. I mean, their defense was the one that got 0 sacks, and their offensive line was the one that gave up 2. So
Yeah.
the two Eagles lines, which were so good all year long, were still the offensive line at least was still solid. Like Hurts had all day to throw a lot of those plays, but the defense didn't touch Mahomes like at all. Like he barely even got hit after his throws.
Yeah, what I was saying right before the podcast, they played a lot of mediocre teams, or a lot of mediocre offenses, so their defense looked really good.
I still think they had a really good defense. Like you don't get to 69 sacks on accident. You know, even if you know you have an easier schedule, but I mean they still played, I think like 10 teams that finished with a winning record out of their 17 in the regular season. I think it was. So I don't know if that included playoffs or not, but either way, that's still a fair amount.
Yeah, but the Chiefs' offense is just
Yeah. Well, I figured Mahomes was going to have a good day because I think we talked about it on the last episode where like last time he was playing a really good defense was like the 49ers, and he threw for 400 yards against them. And so I figured he'd have a good day. He didn't have a big passing day, but he got it done when he needed to, and he could run when he needed to as well on that bum ankle, which he hurt again in that game. And he still broke off like a 20-yard run there in the fourth quarter to set them up in field goal range. I think that might have been on that final drive.
yeah.
So Mahomes stepping up when he needs to. Now my question for you, is he the GOAT?
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
For
Put
sure.
him in now. He doesn't have to wait the 5. He doesn't even have to retire.
You put him
To
in the
get to
hall
the Hall
right
of
now,
Fame.
yeah. For sure.
Thanks for building up my chemistry.
So, sorry, I'm trying to search something.
You're searching, is Mahomes the GOAT?
No, I just don't know how to read.
Man, I really hope that people, they like the awkward silences because we give you plenty of them.
I thought you cut that out.
No, that one's staying in.
Oh,
It has to now.
Oh, man.
Oh, look, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Chiefs won the Super Bowl. And there's a lot
John
of,
Googled this for the Super Bowl, and the score came up, and then there were fireworks. That was very exciting. That's what happened with the Chiefs.
yeah, there was a lot of fireworks that came up.
I saw a video that was talking about, so you know the last 2 touchdowns the Chiefs had in that game where they were both wide open in the flat on the goal line?
Yeah, was it about the Jags?
That Doug Peterson did that against the Eagles back in like week 4, week 6, whatever it was, that rainy game against the Jags. And the Chiefs saw that and they said, "Oh, let's do that." And I think that was the big problem for the Eagles. The defense, just as a whole, they couldn't get any sacks. And I mean, despite that, they still only allowed 1 touchdown in the first half. But then they just never adjusted. And they kept doing what they were doing. And meanwhile, the Chiefs did adjust. And that's what won them the game, was because they were down by 10 at halftime. And teams down by 10 or more at halftime were 26-1. Now they're 26-2.
Yeah, and the coin toss as well.
Yeah, Mahomes breaks the coin toss curse. He broke the MVP curse. So he broke the curse on my YouTube channel, because I'll always do a thing on my channel where I'll like simulate the Super Bowl or whatever. Or I do it for the Super Bowl and for the FCS championship game in college. And going into that game, the teams that won in my videos were 0-3, which isn't a huge record against them, but like 0-3, it's like, okay, that's not a great start.
Yeah.
So congratulations that's the important curse. Breaking the Wild Jeffrey simulated championship game curse.
Yeah. A lot of their stats the entire game were really close. Like first downs, and it was the Eagles
dominated the first half.
Dominating that first half. It was like 15 first downs to like 6 or
And by
something.
halftime there, you see the Eagles are up by 10, and what are the Eagles so good at all year long is running the ball. I mean, they were like borderline historic in running the football, and yet the Chiefs outrushed them, and it wasn't that close.
Yeah, they outrushed them by 43 yards.
Hurts was the leading rusher. I think he had like 70-some yards. Like Miles Sanders couldn't do anything. Scott couldn't do anything. And the Chiefs' run defense, which has been suspect, they allowed a lot of yards against the Jags in the playoffs and whatnot. They really just locked him down.
Yeah. It was weird to see, because it was like I don't know. I don't know how to get my thoughts together right now, but we were seeing
we
the
didn't
momentum.
see the strength. Yeah, because they had all the momentum in the first half. Philadelphia did. Like it was like, man, like, you know, if they can score early in the third quarter and make it 31-14, like I know it's Mahomes, but he hasn't been looking a ton like Mahomes. That defense, even though they're not getting any sacks, they're still not giving up big plays other than that touchdown at the beginning of the game. But outside of that, like, they really had him on lockdown.
Yeah.
And it would have been even a larger deficit if Jalen Hurts could hold on to the football in that play.
For real.
Because that was that scoop and score touchdown was a huge swing of momentum for Kansas City that they couldn't really capitalize on. But, I mean, if that play doesn't happen, then the Eagles are champions.
Well, I don't know about that.
Maybe not necessarily. I mean, it's a lot more likely, though. Because that play, I feel like, even though it was really early, it really kept Kansas City in the game. Because otherwise, they're down by 17 at half. More than likely.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think they can get down to the goal line and do that play again, where they did 2 times. And they they just had a wide open man both times. And Kadarius Toney with his creepy looking face.
Toney and Sky Moore. Not a bad time for your first NFL touchdown.
Sky Moore?
Yeah.
Wow.
His first in the Super Bowl, baby.
That's cool.
Finally showing up after all the fantasy heads were high on him in the preseason. He didn't score once.
Doesn't matter now.
No.
Yeah. Toney almost got a touchdown or a kick return touchdown.
Punt return touchdown.
Or punt return.
I think it would have been the first punt return touchdown in Super Bowl history.
It was dang close.
He got close, got down to the 5, and then I think 2 plays later or whatever, they scored.
He stole ankles.
Oh, yeah. That was such a great play, too. It was a bad punt to begin with.
It wasn't
he takes
the
it to
best.
the left side, and there's Eagles all around him there. Starts cutting it across to the right side, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of white and red jerseys, and he's got like the Great Wall of China out there blocking for him. And he had daylight in front of him. He was fighting his way down that right sideline. He just kind of ran out of space.
Yeah, it just kind of kept closing in. And
using the defense as a defender there. And
that was kind of cool, too, because I think it was smart. I'm not sure if he meant to do this, but all the blockers went to one side, and he went to the other side, and then he stole their whole like lower half.
That was probably like partly designed, at least.
I think a little bit. I'm not sure though.
But it kind of just
because of the
all
bad
came
punt.
together. Yeah.
He had to he reached out for it too.
Mm-hmm.
He was close to not getting it, and then he he has probably a bag of ankles at home now,
Probably.
along with his ring.
Yeah.
Not
He
yet.
doesn't
but
get the ring yet, but he will have it soon enough.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, that was the Super Bowl.
That was a Super Bowl. It was a good game. Mahomes building onto his legacy. I guess in the offseason we'll do a top 10 all-time quarterbacks maybe.
Yeah,
Or
and
at
the
least
top
have that
10.
as a segment and see where Mahomes stacks in there. Because I feel like, he's got 2 rings now.
3 appearances.
He has 3 appearances. He has 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. I think only like Brady and Montana have all those also with Mahomes, and he's 27.
And he has 2 MVPs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 MVPs.
And he's made it to the divisional round every year, right?
AFC Championship
Or yeah, AFC Championship.
every year.
excuse
He's
me.
won at least one playoff game every season. And more often than not, he'll win 2, maybe even 3. I was going to say, I don't think he's played in 1 wild card game. That's right. Against the Steelers a couple of years ago. But other than that, like he's always had a top 2 seed because he's just been that good that he always gets him to that spot. Like he's crazy. Jalen Hurts, though, almost not robbed of a Super Bowl MVP, but he was the best player on the field.
Yeah, 304 passing yards, 70 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns for rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, 3 rushing touchdowns and that bomb to A.J. Brown.
Yeah, crisp.
Yeah, there's a few things Philadelphia can go back and look on with that game, even offensively, where the offensive line was giving up some pressure there. Hurts was getting pressured on both sides in that second half, especially. He'd be flushed to one side, and boom, there's another guy there. You have to throw it away. And then also there was that deep throw to Quez Watkins that was off of his hands. If that's A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith.
Or even Goddard.
He's hauling that in, but since it's Quez Watkins, he's a good receiver. I mean, he's an NFL wide receiver, but someone else brings that down, and I think the Eagles ended up punting on that drive.
Yeah.
Or maybe kicking a field goal, something. They didn't score a touchdown. They probably would have if he hauls that in deep.
Yeah, I think so, because he was at the 15, 16-yard line, I think. Maybe 20 yards out there. And it was a hard catch, too, because he had to spin in air, but
it hit him in both his hands.
it hit both his hands, yeah. And
that's fun, especially in the Super Bowl. You got to bring that kind of stuff down.
Yeah. So yeah, I think a good game overall.
It was. I remember though, coming home after going to the Super Bowl party and whatnot. It's it's just such an unsatisfying ending though.
Felt
running
wrong.
the clock down at the end and kicking the field goal. Obviously it's what you do if you're the Chiefs. You're not gonna try to kick it and give the Eagles a chance in the Super Bowl. But I wasn't really rooting for either team, but I at least wanted Philadelphia to get the ball back at the end so that it basically would come down to the final play.
Yeah, because that one running play at the end, they wanted him to go in. And
he was smart enough to not go in.
Knee.
So, yeah, I think if that penalty isn't called, which whatever, we already covered that play, but I think with about a minute left, the Eagles get in the field goal range, I think, and kick a field goal, and then we got overtime. And I really wanted to see overtime in the Super Bowl. But, I mean, that's the most points we've ever gotten in the Super Bowl combined.
That's a lot.
73
That's
total
crazy.
points.
It would have been over sooner if it didn't dink a field goal with donk it, bonk it.
Harrison Butker early on with the...
Or it might have
doink.
changed the whole game, and then the Eagles might have had the ball, and they could have gone down, tied it up.
Maybe the Eagles played a little better. I don't know. There's an infinite amount of possibilities that could have, would have, should have happened.
But what did happen is Mahomes got his MVP, his Super Bowl MVP, and his ring.
Do you think the Eagles are going to be back?
No.
That's what I was thinking also.
I don't think they'll be back in the Super Bowl. I think they'll be good, but
especially when Jalen Hurts is going to be getting probably close to $50 million a year this next season. That's what people are saying because he played at an MVP level. And so, Rodgers is making, I think, just under 50.
And so they're more than Rodgers?
That's what they're saying. He's at least going to get in the 40s, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to kind of hold them back a little bit. We've seen that before with a lot of quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers as one of them. Once he got his some mega deals in. And, he hasn't been back to the Super Bowl.
Trash.
Yeah, a lot of players like that. Mahomes is the exception that proves the rule, I think, because he's on the, $500 million, 10-year deal. But I mean, he's just that good that he can almost like overcome the lack of weapons around him because he is just that freaking good.
Yeah, and he got his receivers back towards the end there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Philly bounces back next season because they just lost their offensive and defensive coordinators now.
Yeah.
To head coaching jobs. I don't think that's actually a big problem, though, especially defensively when their defense couldn't adjust.
Their defense lost that game. Lost that game 100%.
Because the offense, I think they did about as well as they could have. I guess, sure, don't go 3 and out a few times, but I mean, you're not going to score on every drive.
No, you're not, and
that's nearly impossible. I think it's only been done once, and it was the Bills in that playoff game a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was.
But other than that,
didn't matter.
You're not gonna exactly. They still lost the next week.
That's our curse.
But yeah, that falls a lot more on the defense. And yeah, I just have a gut feeling Philly isn't gonna be back, at least with this, in the next 2 or 3 years. I feel like Hurts is good, and he's coming off a great season, but I don't know. I don't trust him to keep it up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's still going to have his weapons around him. He's going to have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith for the long haul. I think Goddard. I think he's coming close to the end of his contract. I could be completely wrong, though. But, I mean,
you would be.
Have his weapons around him. I think Jason Kelsey's going to retire. That's kind of what it looks like.
This year?
Yeah. I think so. He's getting up there. He's drafted 2009 or something. So he might not, but I feel
one
like
of the best of all time.
I think both Kelseys are Hall of Famers. And, I mean, that defense, a lot of those guys I think will be sticking around. They just signed Bradbury in the offseason. Slay's been there for a minute. Hassan Reddick just got signed in the offseason. So they made a lot of moves. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if they were back, but I don't think they're going to be representing the NFC. We'll see if they can be the first back-to-back NFC East winners since 2004.
And then back-to-back Super Bowl losers.
Mm-hmm.
Again to Mahomes.
First time back-to-back Super Bowl losers since the Bills.
That happened 4 times. We will not be beat.
You won't?
No, we will keep that record.
You think? Oh, yeah. I don't think anyone's going to beat you there. The Bills have that.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the Vikings didn't do it 4 straight years. They just did it all in 1 decade.
Yeah, I don't like talking about it. It's hard for me before I was born.
Oh, yeah. You got any other thoughts on the big game?
Not really. Besides the fact that Mahomes is the new Brady, and he's the enemy now. He's the bad guy.
Because I was pretty neutral going into this game. I was leaning Eagles, 55%.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want David to strangle me because I was in his house.
For real.
And he's wearing his Brian Dawkins jersey, and I don't want him to blow me up.
He was wearing his jersey over his sweatshirt that was also an Eagles sweatshirt with his hat on that was an Eagles hat.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. And he was really pumped for it. And it was a good game, but it was really sad.
But yeah, especially going into the fourth quarter, I was like, I really do want the Eagles to win this. Just because I would rather see them win another Super Bowl than Mahomes, even though it's only his second. And I want David to be happy.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I started rooting for him, they started losing.
Yeah. I was back and forth.
You really were back and forth.
Because I kept, every time a play would happen or a play wouldn't happen.
The score or the momentum would swing.
Yeah. On my phone, the iOS, I think a somewhat recent update is you can switch your wallpaper. So you can just hold down on it and then switch it, and then it's your background wallpaper and your lock screen. So I was just going back and forth between Eagles and the Chiefs wallpaper the whole time. And I accidentally left it on Chiefs. and then they won. And
he's like, really, man?
David was upset, which is understandable. And so I just kind of flipped it over.
I still feel like he was definitely a lot more upset than he let on to be.
For sure.
He was like, no, it's okay. It happens. I was like, David.
It does happen, yeah.
I did. I just watched it happen.
4 times straight, though.
It does, yeah. It's the second Super Bowl loss David has seen.
Have they lost 2 Super Bowls?
They've lost 3.
They
One of them was in like the 70s.
They won one with
Raiders.
Jason Kelsey though, right?
Yep, they won in 2017.
Oh man,
So I saw that.
that sucks.
I remember him telling me about him watching the 2004 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The when the Patriots beat the Eagles.
Bummer.
And he was like 5 years old or whatever. Probably just absolutely devastated.
That's sad. I feel sad now. Screw the Chiefs.
But yeah, I think a lot more people are going to be rooting against the Chiefs in the future now.
I know that they're better than the Bills, or that at least Patrick Mahomes is better than Josh Allen, and that's our curse to either lose to them.
You're going to be like the Colts of the 2000s. Always, the second best team in the AFC.
Yeah.
But then you got Tom Brady and the Patriots, or in this case, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Always ahead of you, always have your number. You can beat them in the regular season, but not when it matters.
Yeah, but didn't Manning end with a 2-3 against him?
Something. His second to last game of his career was a AFC Championship win against Brady, 20-18.
Yeah, buddy.
So
hopefully
by the end of Josh Allen's career,
we'll have one Super Bowl. He'll go to the Broncos too, and then
he'll leave. He'll go to
he'll get an ankle injury or some neck, whatever,
and
then he'll go to the Broncos. And
he did win one with the Colts though. So
Josh Allen?
Yeah, he won with Peyton Manning did.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And then he won one with the Broncos.
He did.
And then retired.
That's how it happened.
Yeah, and Brady said he's the best of all time.
Who is?
Brady said that Manning was the best of all time.
Really?
That's what he
When
said.
did he say that?
I don't know. That's what I just saw in a video.
Oh, I saw one of him talking about Montana. He said I know he said Montana's the best.
Yeah, because he can't say
he's just being humble.
Yeah. You can't say it or everyone's going to hate him even more.
Yeah.
Which is fair. Yeah. Bills are going to lose to the Bengals or the Chiefs.
Yeah, don't even bother watching this next season. The script's already been leaked.
That's fine. I mean, we'll win our 12 games or whatever. And
Or the Dolphins will just take that division from you.
Dude, I'm going to kill myself. All the memes about Tyreek Hill watching the Chiefs
beating his kid.
Yes, that.
He already did it once.
Yeah. So we will keep filming every week. It's just
shorter
off-season
episodes and all that probably.
Off-season is going to be a little bit different because there's not really anything going on for football, so we'll just talk about
probably do some like start bench cut,
that'd be fun. Rankings and what's happening in the off-season.
Give you our expert analysis of who's going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Right now, who's your bet for two teams in the Super Bowl
for 2023?
Yeah, you only have to get one of them right. So if you say Jags and Niners and the Niners get in but not the Jags, then then you got it.
I'm gonna go with. Oh man, it's tough knowing who's gonna be good next year.
Just say names.
I'm gonna go Niners.
Okay.
Out of the NFC, and out of the AFC, let's go with the. I'm looking.
You are.
Chiefs are boring. That's a boring answer. Give me the Bills. Niners, Bills.
That'd be a sweet Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'd be excited for that, man. Niners are probably my favorite team in the NFC.
I hate them.
What? Oh, yeah.
But I mean, there's going to be surprise teams. Who knows? Maybe the freaking Saints just come out of nowhere and dominate.
The Falcons.
Because, I mean, a year ago, no one would have thought that the Eagles were going to go to the Super Bowl. And the year before that, to say that the Bengals would go to a Super Bowl, if you said that going into 2021, you're going to get laughed out of the existence.
Yeah, and
because they were coming off of a 5-win season with a quarterback with a torn ACL, and it looked like they were getting no protection for him on the line, which that was true. But
yeah, and for that reason, I'm going to go with the Lions out of the NFC. And I like your Bills pick. I do. I really do.
I'm sure you do.
But like I said earlier, I have no trust
in go Chiefs
in the Bills after the last two seasons that I've watched.
Welcome to my world.
The only two seasons that I've watched, and it is upsetting.
Still better than 90% of Bills fans.
Yeah.
At least your team's in the playoffs.
Yes. But I'm going to go kind of a wild card pick.
You can go Jags.
I'm going to go Jags.
I think my way too early 2023 prediction is the Jags finish 14-3.
Dang, okay.
Top of the AFC, and then they go one and done in the playoffs. But I have them being that top seed, or at least losing the AFC title game. I don't have them going to the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to be really good in the regular season.
Well, maybe if the Bills don't play the Bengals or the Chiefs, we can get to a Super Bowl.
No, just for Trevor Lawrence to own you and you to be the fourth best team in the AFC.
Gosh dang it. We're still the best in our conference.
Yeah, I saw some posts that were doing like the way too early Super Bowl 58 predictions.
Yeah.
And like, going with like the boring ones. Niners, Chiefs, like, okay. That's boring. I saw one that had the Steelers going.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, I actually like that pick because, like I said, no one would have thought the Eagles were going to go. Saw another one do Chargers, Packers, and I was like, okay, I like that one.
I don't love that one.
I love that one because Jordan Love, Super Bowl, let's go.
I hope Love plays. Kick all old farts out. Matt Ryan's the last one. Kick him out.
I think Matt Ryan will. I don't know if he's going to retire, but I don't think he's going to be on the Colts anymore.
No
but we'll
cares.
get to that whenever that happens.
We'll get to that when it happens. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for
listening.
Great season.
Leave your comments on the big game down below. Your thoughts and all that. What'd you think about it?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Was it rigged?
Rigged. Oh no. Smash that like button.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.